Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 8, Episode 8.
Or Episode 174 if you're counting.
Good to see all of you guys here today. Thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors at patreon.com/MarsGirl who make this show and all kinds of other stuff I do possible. Very excited because there's a very high likelihood that by the end of the night you will actually have a functioning PC.
Yes, thanks to people being so nice to contribute to my Overwatch addiction.
Michael here in the chat right now, in fact, is the primary caretaker, making sure that that's possible. There was also a Derek that you know, Michael, that was helping Josh out, so...
Yes, thank you to the both of you. Much thanks. Some of that tied into some of the stories we're looking into tonight, specifically related to Overwatch, but thank you again. Always it's appreciated when any of you are showing your generosity, whether it's through a one-time thing, whether it's through a follow, or contributing over at Patreon. We do appreciate it.
Definitely. So, yeah, what else is going on other than hopefully getting a functioning PC back in the house?
Yes, aside from that, again, we want to go ahead and reiterate this weekend we will be out in Austin for DreamHack.
Yeah, DreamHack Austin. So on Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. we're doing the cartoon intro sing-along, which we've done at other conventions, mostly at MagFest, to really great reception, actually.
Yeah, growing reception every year.
Yeah, so people get excited about it every single time. So if you're in the Austin area, I hope you'll come down to DreamHack Austin, because it's a blast. It's a total blast. And this is a different kind of atmosphere than I'm really used to, because this is primarily PC gaming and esports and such.
Right.
You know, we've done MagFest before, and MagFest, like it says, it's more of a festival. Music and games, and not just PC, it's everything.
It's usually a little bit more chill, but I imagine people still respond to that. Like, we were having this discussion earlier about you're actually trying to improve the look of it by adding subtitles.
Yes, because that was something that we had people ask about over the last couple of years. Like, oh, there's just some lyrics I don't remember anymore. It would be great if there were, you know, karaoke lyrics along the bottom of the screen. You know, I'm not gonna make them colorized or give it a bouncing ball or anything like that.
Is it because you don't know how?
No, it's because that takes too much time.
So you do know how?
I do know how.
So you're cheating people out of the bouncing ball.
Nobody cares about the bouncing ball.
Some people care about the bouncing ball.
Screw the bouncing ball. You're just getting text at the bottom of the screen. So this time
but
we're
I'm saying,
debuting
though,
text at the bottom of the screen.
I'll get it if it's an obscure title that people might not remember from the 90s, you know, or whatnot. But in most cases...
RoboCop. What are the lyrics to RoboCop?
Yes, people need to know what the lyrics to RoboCop Alpha Commando are.
The lyrics are literally just RoboCop.
That's it.
That's the
only lyric in the entire song.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if it's something like DuckTales, you're not going to have people second guessing themselves. Life is like a hurricane here in Seattle. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not. But I'm excited. I'm excited about DreamHack because it's a kind of event that I've never attended before. So, super thrilled that we're going to get to be there.
Yes.
Anything else going on before we talk about the main stories of the night?
For once, we're not going to the movies this weekend, so you're probably happy about that.
Well, it's not that I don't want to go to the movies. It's that movies cost money.
They do, which is why I pre-ordered tickets for Guardians next weekend.
Which still cost money.
Yes.
Pre-orders also cost money.
What?
Sorry to burst your bubble there. That's how pre-orders work. You know, money is exchanged
for goods and services. Yes, we're aware.
So yes, I can't think of anything else in particular that we
Not
have to
anything
address
hella
right away.
pertinent. Of course, we do want to make mention that after the show, if you guys want to stick around for an extra 30 minutes, we'll be doing our Q&A as usual.
As usual, I do see that there's quite a few of you here today that maybe haven't been here before, so thank you for being here. Welcome. So, yeah, usually if you're watching this later on in the week when we finally post it up on YouTube, you don't get that additional half an hour that we sit and chat with you guys here at the end for. So, yeah, please stick around the entire hour. And I feel like I was going to say one other thing. If I remember it, then I'll say it. But maybe we should go ahead and talk about what our stories for the evening are going to be.
Right, so our first story of the evening has to do with some more cross-promotion between Heroes of the Storm and my favorite game, Overwatch. So this was all announced just this week about new crossovers, bringing back the chance to get not just one previous skin, but also the chance to get new skins, and also making people angry that they have to play Heroes of the Storm. But you know what? It's not a bad game. You'd enjoy it.
But there's other good news coming out of it, and we'll definitely address it a little later.
Yes.
The second story is coming out of the Netherlands and is in regards to fan subs,
Yes.
where the Netherlands have definitely deemed fan subs illegal. We're going to get into the specifics of how and why it's illegal and what exactly they're talking about doing and how they're going to prosecute and move forward should this become a real problem.
Yes, and the last story we'll have for you this evening has to do with the latest reveal for the trailers of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So we'll talk to you guys about the roster, about the new mechanics in the game, and whether or not we're going to get it. Chances are, maybe?
It's a big maybe.
It's a big maybe. Okay, we'll go with big
I'm
maybe.
not a huge fighting game person, but I love all the characters in both of those franchises.
Yes.
So, absolutely. I guess before we get into those main stories, we should go ahead and talk about our follow-ups.
Yes.
So, take it away, Josh.
Alright, I'm out of here.
That's not what
no,
I meant.
okay, that's not. I know that's not what you meant. I'm just messing with you. Okay, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and talk about the DC news and the follow-ups first. So Regal Cinemas has put out information today about the Ultimate Wonder Woman ticket. Now, this is looks to be a golden ticket. No, not Willy Wonka style, but
although Willy Wonka was coming up earlier in the chat, you saw that, right?
I saw that.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, we're not
Willy
talking
Wonka.
about that. Screw that. So this ticket, basically, it's $100, and it allows you to see the movie once a day for the length of the theatrical run.
Well, you've got to be really confident that you're going to love this Wonder Woman movie. Or maybe you are that hardcore about the character Wonder Woman.
Yes.
That's got to be the only people
that
that is geared toward, if you ask me.
Right. Now, like, admittedly, I'm still on the fence, hopefully optimistic about Wonder Woman, but I don't know that I could do it for that movie. Like, if it was, say, Pacific Rim 2, like, I will buy whatever infinite ticket they have so I can...
I hear you.
Buy into that movie as much as possible because it needs to succeed. So we need to cancel the apocalypse again.
Well, but if we canceled it, it shouldn't have come back. That's the only
stuff that gets
flaw.
canceled. Stuff that gets canceled gets brought back. You saw what happened with X-Files.
Yeah, maybe that shouldn't have happened, but it's happening again.
Yeah, that's arguable. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. All right, we also got some interesting news on both the television and digital fronts from Warner Brothers. So we got word earlier this week that Warner Brothers and DC are going to be launching this direct-to-consumer digital service come next year. And the two flagship things that they're going to be showing is, one, the Titans series that we were hearing about, the live-action Teen Titans series, will be put on this digital platform. So this is the first we've heard in a while. For a while there, we thought we were going to see it out of TNT, but it looks like it's going to this digital service. The other thing, which is a lot more surprising, but also very welcome, is the addition of this next season of Young Justice that they're titling Young Justice Outsiders. So, from the description they're giving, this will have to do with metahuman trafficking this season.
Metahuman trafficking.
Yes, it's a little different from where the plot was going. For those of you who were watching the finale of Season 2, we were starting to see the introduction of Darkseid, but there were some forays into the idea of metahumans and creating metahumans there in the show. Either way, I'm very happy to see that we're getting it, and this is the format.
Well, I'm curious, is this digital format a format we're going to have to pay for, like a Netflix service or HBO or Hulu?
They haven't confirmed yet any pricing or things of that nature, but these two items, Titans and Young Justice Outsiders, are exclusive to this service.
Because it sounds cool, but that's like the only deterrent for me, is another service I would have to pay for.
Because I fought so hard with so many other people to get Young Justice back, I would pay.
Well, I understand that. It's just, if you weren't in it for that, then I wouldn't pay for it.
No, I understand. But yes, that's something we have to expect out of DC there.
Well, cool.
Also, we had an interesting bit of news here. So, WWE wrestler The Miz was interviewed earlier this week talking about potential roles he could play in movies. The first thing he said was, well, I'd love to play a Marvel character, but the one I want's been taken. So my next runner-up would be, I would be really interested to play Booster Gold. Now, if any of you are familiar with wrestling, with WWE, and the character of The Miz, he is Booster Gold.
Like, I'm not all that familiar with The Miz, but I am familiar with Booster Gold, and I love how much of a jackass Booster Gold is.
And
I know he's a terrible person, but I love him!
And so's The Miz. That is the one time I've ever said, Miz, you've said something right. You would absolutely knock it out of the park as Booster Gold. So DC, that one, they did the work for you. Just put something together. I know you guys were shopping it around. There it is right there. Easier said than...
Go for it, man. I've been waiting for Booster Gold for a long time.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move over to some Marvel news here. So there's been some talk going around about potentially the title for the next Avengers movie after Infinity War having been spoiled. This was out of an interview with Zoe Saldana talking about having to go back and do reshoots and extra shoots for things that they're working on Infinity War right now. She has some other projects, and then she's going back to work on Gauntlet. Now, a lot of people drew this as, okay, the conclusion we're coming to is this first one's going to be called an Infinity War. The next one's going to be called Infinity War, or the Infinity Gauntlet, I should say.
Yeah, it sounds like what she was saying was not a full and complete title.
Right. Now, of course, since then, it has been downplayed as, no, she's just talking about just things in general. That's not the title. We haven't spoiled anything yet.
Oh, bull.
No,
please.
No, see, you have to realize we're still dealing with Marvel and Disney money.
Yeah.
Giraffe money, sniper money. They are not going to let her do something like spoil the movie title years ahead of time just like that. Like it was nothing. Because you remember, in every interview that a Marvel personality talks about, you know, an upcoming project, when they can, they mention they've got snipers. It always comes up that they've got snipers. So I don't think she was willingly trying to give out information. Most likely it's just a handoff there, maybe just a set
or maybe
reference.
It was a slight tease on purpose that she wasn't in fact allowed to say because she didn't say the whole thing.
That's entirely possible
maybe
too.
They're building hype with just give them a little something.
Well, yeah, that's how you do. That's how you do.
Let them dream.
Let them dream. Give them the hype, and that's the thing. I'm interested now to see how they would do that.
Right.
Okay, so we've got some other information here out of Spider-Man Homecoming. Actually, this is out of Hot Toys. So we have our first full look at the Iron Man suit. This is the Mark 47 suit that we'll be seeing there in the movie. Very much going with the color scheme from the Ultimate universe there.
Still got a nice gold face.
Nice gold face, which is, you know, typical, but he's got more of a silver body, just like his Ultimate counterpart there. Of course, this is the suit we will be seeing there in the movie later on this summer. Those tickets haven't gone on sale yet, but I'm waiting. Because those will go fast.
They're coming.
And another bit of information there coming out of Disney. So for the Mission Breakout ride that they're adding to Disney out there in California for the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, they're going to have this interesting little bit there where it's going to be like Star Tours, where you're going to go through the basic ride, but depending on when you go through, the soundtrack of your ride will be one of 8 classic songs.
Oh, interesting.
Timed out to the ride. So each individual go through might have one song and might not have another. I think one of them's a free ride. You know, come on, take a free ride.
Free ride.
Yeah, that's the one I'd be looking forward to the most. There's some other ones there. The full list is available online.
I'm sure you'd have to ride it several times to decide which version of the ride you enjoyed the best, really.
So yeah, that's another excuse to have to go back out to Cali.
Like we don't have enough
Like we don't have enough of those already. Shout out to everybody in Cali. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to some other movie news here. Big news coming out this week from Jurassic World 2. People weren't sure how to take this. Most people are taking this positively. Jeff Goldblum has signed on to the sequel to return as Dr. Ian Malcolm there for the sequel of Jurassic World. Now, he hasn't been back since the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and you remember how well that went.
I liked it. That's probably my favorite.
Good for you.
I know you don't like it.
I don't like it.
We differ on that.
Because remember, the last time they only brought back Jeff Goldblum and not the rest of the cast from Jurassic Park, it means we got a little girl who defeated a velociraptor using gymnastics. Okay?
But to be fair, it was a little girl who defeated a velociraptor using gymnastics. Yeah, I didn't like that part.
You just said literally exactly what I just said, and it was terrible.
I know.
It was
terrible. That part wasn't great. I like the rest of the movie, though.
Okay.
Okay. Vince Vaughn was good in that.
I don't agree, but okay. Go ahead.
But yes, a lot of people wondering how exactly he's going to fit in. There's a lot of rumors going around about how this particular title is actually going to tie back harder to the original movie, and this just seems to be part of that. So more on that as that develops. Over on the Avatar end of things...
Oh boy, because we needed more Avatar.
Well, apparently James Cameron is absolutely convinced that we do.
Well, I'm not.
Because they've gone ahead and announced the next set of release dates for Avatar. That's going to be... Oh, geez, this is hard for me to process here. December 18th, 2020, December 17th, 2021, December 20th, 2024, and December 19th, 2025.
Why are
Four more sequels.
Why are they convinced that between the third and the fourth movie they need 3 years of production, when in between the second and the third movie they only need 1 year of production?
See, that's the thing. They're going to be filming all of those starting later this year, that they're going to be doing all the mocap work, and they're going to do it all at once.
Also, I realized when the first film came out, everyone was like, oh my god, this is amazing, even though we've all seen this movie before, but it's 3D now, and I want to go live in Avatar Land.
Nah, I don't.
But, yeah, I really don't. For some reason, you know, it was amazing to people at the time. But how many years has it been now? Like, we're pushing 10 years, right? Since,
not 10
8?
years.
7 or 8 years?
At least 7, I would say.
Do people actually care about Avatar anymore?
Like
they're still building that Avatar land, right?
Yeah, they are still building that.
Why? Do people
know.
actually still care? I really don't.
Because
I really don't.
At a certain point, yeah, when a sequel takes that long to come out, it's very rare that it's good.
But there's gonna be another 4, 5?
4. He believes in it.
No, I don't. I'm sorry, guys. I don't.
Well, I'll agree with you there.
All right.
Okay, so moving on to some other news. Let's see what we got here. Yes, so going over to Alien Covenant. A little vignette was put online today showing a kind of bridging of the gap between Prometheus and Alien Covenant, specifically with Michael Fassbender and Naomi Rapace's character from Prometheus, showing what they did in between the two movies. Naomi Rapace's character went to sleep.
Oh, what?
That's literally it. Like, they build it like, oh, this is going to bridge the gap. No, his android stayed awake while she slept, and then they showed up on
That's weird. Did he do anything in that time?
No,
is that what
he learned the engineer's language.
All right, that's cool.
Which he kind of already knew in the first movie.
Yeah, I thought he did.
But apparently he mastered it because he had that kind of time.
Well, yeah.
And he's also an android, so that probably wasn't hard.
Yeah, it probably went really fast and then he got bored.
Yeah, so, go figure. Alright, so moving on to some other news here. More news coming out of the Rampage movie, which is filming right now, starring Dwayne Johnson. So we've gotten a potential plot description for the movie that apparently there's a privately owned space station orbiting the Earth. There's an accident on it, and 3 canisters fall onto the continental U.S. One in Wyoming, one in Florida.
Oh, good. Nobody's gonna get hurt in Wyoming.
Right, because it doesn't exist.
No, nobody lives in Wyoming.
And an animal preserve in California, specifically in the ape pen. So when
thus you get
the wolf, the ape, and an alligator.
Yeah.
So those all transform, mutate into giant monsters, and Dwayne Johnson's character knows the monkey because he already works with the monkey, and
of course Dwayne Johnson works with a monkey. That makes sense.
Hey, we used to watch movies where Clint Eastwood worked with a monkey. That wasn't... People bought that.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
So it'll be fun. And then, of course, from there, that's where we get our 3 monsters, and they'll be rampaging.
Well, I was wondering how we were going to get a story out of Rampage. Well, there you go, I guess. I mean, that's about as good as...
It's kind of BS.
About as good as anything, I guess.
Yeah, it's BS, but you realize it has to be BS because we just want to get to the part where they're...
It's a dumb game. Like, that's okay. And this is gonna be a dumb movie, and maybe that's okay.
But the thing is, sometimes I like a dumb movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like specifically Dwayne Johnson movies where I don't have to think very hard.
That's
I can
true.
just sit there and watch stuff blow up.
Yeah, and stuff's gonna fall over in this movie, so that's all we care about, right?
Alright, so moving on to some anime adaptation news, we have another visual here to show you guys from the Full Metal Alchemist live-action movie. This is a shot here of Edward and Alphonse Elric. They're in the movie, full shot of Alphonse. Of course, he's going to be completely CG for the movie. We're still waiting for more footage. Again, we've only gotten those 2 short.
I kind of wish he was a suit. Granted, his CG, like his model doesn't look bad.
No, it looks exactly like it
should.
But
I'm terrified of what movement is going to look like.
No, I understand. It's like, the worry I have about it is with some seasons of Garo, where sometimes the movement was cool, but I didn't believe it for a second that was real. I think specifically in, like, The One Who Shines in Darkness. Admittedly, I love all the suits in that, but because they weren't practical, you could tell, like, there was just the tiniest bit of jerkiness in the movie.
Yeah, again, like, the rendering of the suit looks great. I'm scared of the movement.
No, I understand that. Like. But yes, more on that. Hoping for a full trailer sometime soon. Okay, moving over to our Tokusatsu Corner, we've got a new picture to show you guys. A lot more information coming out this week about Ultraman Geed.
It's pronounced Geed. The spelling is all over the place, but it's pronounced Geed.
And now we have a look at our human protagonist. His name is Riku Asakura, played by actor Tatsuomi Hamada, who has been in the Ultraman franchise before, playing a different character. But here he is the human host for Ultraman Geed, using his transformation device there, the Geed Riser. This will be debuting in July, so everybody set your clocks, watches, calendars, however you keep track of time.
Set your calendars.
Well, yeah,
mark your calendar.
Mark your calendar. Well, you can set your calendar on your phone. Hey, Siri, remind me to watch Ultraman Geed. I don't know what Tokusatsu is, and then you throw that phone away. Point being...
Yeah, because who talks to... My computer wants me to talk to Cortana. I don't talk to Cortana.
Cortana's lonely, Kaylin.
She's very lonely. She tries to talk to me during the show all the time, and I have to make her go away.
Yes. But yes, our first look there at Ultraman G, there's a small bit of footage out there just showing the suit actor there posing like an Ultraman, as you'd figure. But yes, looking forward to that this July.
Cool.
And then the last bit of information here, coming out of Kamen Rider, specifically from the Complete Selection Modification line, we have this photo here showing that they're going to be putting out a Complete Selection Modification version of the Denim Belt and Keitaro cell phone.
Sounds expensive.
Usually it is for Complete Selection Modification. Now, it's worth noting that an adult-sized version of the Denim Belt has already been produced before, which is very nicely detailed and, you know, pretty heavy. But of course, that went out of production several years ago. It did not have a portion to detach the front and attach a Keitaros to it. And that was very expensive, like the original Fi's release, something like $500 and up.
That's pretty ridiculous.
This will probably be a little bit more reasonable, about in the $100, $150 range.
Still more money than I have.
But it's nice. For people who don't want to worry about modding a belt, these are designed for adult waists. So, admittedly, I modded my own original deluxe Deno belt for when I did Deno cosplay before. It could probably use some upkeep, but maybe if I don't feel like upkeeping it, I could just put in the scratch to get that.
Very true.
But no word on pricing yet, but it's coming. So for those of you who were already feeling your wallets bleed out, here's another reason to have them bleed out.
Okay, cool.
Yes, and that's all of our follow-ups. Let's go ahead and get into our first story.
Alright, so, we were doing... yeah.
Overwatch,
Yeah, Overwatch. So what you're looking at, though, right now is not technically Overwatch. You're looking at
Heroes of the Storm, specifically.
So it's just yet another Blizzard game, a MOBA produced by Blizzard. It's been out for a while now. They're restarting a new season, I believe. Thus, also with Overwatch coming up on its first year,
yes,
that gives them a new tie-in in order to work with, in order to make you play both of these games at the same time. But right now, Overwatch is just wrapping up...
Uprising.
Uprising,
because that ends this Monday, if I don't, because Monday is the 1st, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Monday will end this most recent lore-based event there in Overwatch. And of course, Heroes of the Storm is Blizzard's way of getting all of their different IPs and characters to be there in one game and get everybody to play that. So they did already have an event before where you had the option of getting the Oni Genji skin, and in order to get that, you had to play 5 games with a friend. Now, for this new event, they're starting with that again. So for people who didn't have the opportunity to get the Oni Genji skin before, now you have another chance. This is the first time that's happened.
That's pretty cool.
Based off an event, because with all the other ones specific to Overwatch, you know, Christmas...
They're here and then gone.
They're here and gone, and we're waiting for a full year to go around to see if we'll get a chance to get some of those skins back. I'm still salty over the Halloween skins passing me by. But here, people do have a chance to ask their mercy if they can have more healing, but by wearing an Oni mask when they're doing it. But that's just week 1 of a 4-week promotion that they're doing with Heroes of the Storm. So, of course, in Heroes of the Storm, you'll be able to get the Oni Genji skin there as well as portrait, spray, things like that. The bigger draw for a lot of people is in week 2 of the event, where if you play those 5 games with a friend, you will unlock the Officer Diva skin, as well as a Busan Police hover cycle there, specifically for Heroes of the Storm.
I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's very cool.
I do wish that she could, I wish her mech in Overwatch would turn into a hover bike, so you could bring it over.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I think it would be fun. I know it's really unreasonable. It just is really unrealistic, but... Yeah,
and the thing about it is, I already love the idea of the skin. It looks clean. You know, Diva's going to be there in a police uniform. Interesting that they gave her pants. I appreciate that they gave her pants.
Well, I guess it's nice, yeah.
You know, based off the skirt they gave her in the Chinese New Year.
Yeah, that's true.
I figured that's where they would have gone to give her a police
My understanding is that people are offended by her police uniform, and I really don't know why.
I don't get that.
I don't understand. I can't comment on that because I don't understand why they're offended. So
yeah.
That's as far as I can comment on that.
The only thing I do hope is that along with that, they give her a voice line of her saying she is the law.
That would be amusing, yeah.
Okay, so that's for week 2. Week 3 brings the Officer Diva icon and spray into Overwatch specifically. Week 2 you get the skin. Week 3 you get sprays and icons. And then you get them as well over in Heroes of the Storm. Week 4, which is the big part of the draw, is that by playing those 5 games, you get 10 loot boxes for both Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch. So that's 20 loot boxes altogether. And now, for those of you like me who are starting to succumb, or have already definitely succumbed to the draw of these games, loot boxes get expensive.
Yeah.
And you want these skins, you want to be able to customize your character to look just the way you want to. And 10 loot boxes is nothing to shrug at. That's like $10 real if you're buying there through, PlayStation Network.
Which I think is not... I personally don't think that's worth the risk, but alright. The interesting thing, though, is that there is mention that the skin... Because people are pissed that we have to go play Heroes of the Storm. Some of us don't have PCs. That's why we're playing on PS4.
That was me, too.
Yeah, well, apparently, you just gotta wait a little bit. And eventually, those skins from Heroes of the Storm are gonna come over into loot boxes anyway.
It's about frickin' time. Now, this is a big thing for me, specifically going into Uprising, was for the longest time, people were begging Jeff Kaplan, come on, man, Blackwatch McCree, give us Blackwatch McCree, we know you guys are thinking about it, just give it to us. And then finally, yeah, he was worth $3 grand, but they gave it to us.
Yeah, $3 grand in-game.
In-game currency, yes.
In-game currency, yeah. So, yeah, they said Kaplan, who works at Blizzard... Jeff Kaplan said, we completely understand that there are some players who do not own or have access to a PC to play Heroes of the Storm. Because of this, we plan to add both the Oni Genji skin and the Officer Diva skin to the normal base Overwatch loot box at some point in the future. With that said, I still encourage anyone with access to a PC to play the Nexus Challenge. Heroes of the Storm is an amazing game, and you'll unlock those skins for free and before anyone else. So it is an easier way to get the skins if you can manage to actually play Heroes of the Storm.
Now, admittedly, you play primarily on PC.
Yes.
I play primarily on PS4, and with a lot of my team, we don't have access to computers powerful enough to run Heroes of the Storm. Now, granted, it's not the biggest you know, RAM drawing game, but sometimes you just don't have it.
Yeah, like, I'm somebody who must work on a relatively powerful PC.
Of course.
That otherwise I can't do my job, but most other people, I would say, are not like me. And therefore, you only need access to a laptop. If you're not planning on running games or streaming games, then, well, shoot, you don't need it. But if you've got a home console, then you're missing out entirely on Heroes of the Storm. Now, if they made a console version of Heroes of the Storm, that'd be cool, although I admit that would be kind of difficult to give console UI to, I think. Not to say that it has not been done before, though. I've seen MOBAs get put not only on console games, but on mobile games, on mobile devices as well. So, like, it could be done. I wish they would do it, but I doubt Blizzard has any plans to do so.
And the thing about it, too, is, like, yes, I'm glad for people who didn't have the chance to get Oni Genji to get that chance here. Again, or actually starting right now, you have the chance to do it right now. There through Heroes of the Storm, and also there for Officer Diva. But the other things I'm wondering about is he specifically mentioned those two skins, which are relative to this Nexus challenge right now. What I'm really hoping for beyond that is these other skins that are Heroes of the Storm exclusive for Overwatch characters, because you've seen these, specifically Zarya.
Yes.
People have been complaining...
That's such a detailed costume in
Zarya has such boss costumes in Heroes of the Storm, and people who have looked into it have complained, why can't we have these for her here in Overwatch proper?
Yeah.
Because she's got, like, 4 extra, what we would consider legendary skins, and she doesn't hardly have any good-looking ones.
She also hasn't had any real in-depth, pre-rendered backstory, you know?
We're hoping for that.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that for this whole past year.
And then, as well, with Genji, he's got a straight-up Neon Genesis Evangelion-based skin. Where he looks like Unit 01, and I would play as the anime trash I am for that series with that skin.
Right.
But I can't play that over on the PS4. I have to try and unlock that in Heroes of the Storm.
Well, some of them you have to pay for, and you can't unlock them just by playing.
That's true, too. And the thing about it is, once you realize how much stuff that they're putting behind a paywall, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that kind of makes me want it just a little bit less.
Yeah, I'm intimidated by it, and it makes me upset. And I am not very interested in in these microtransactions.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in them. All I want to do is play the game. It doesn't matter how cool something looks to me. Other people are different. Other people really love the idea of really cool looking reskins. And that's great. That's what it's there for. It's there for you guys. But it's not for me. I just want to play the game.
Yes. So yes, if you guys have the option of playing Heroes of the Storm, it's a free game. You can download it, play it. You don't have to win those 5 matches. You just have to play them with a friend.
Yeah.
That was something people were wondering about the first time with Oni Genji. No, it's the same deal. You just have to play 5 games. You don't have to win.
Yeah.
On average, that took us about, what, 3 hours to get through?
Maybe, because MOBAs take a while.
It does take a while for these, capture points.
Sometimes it'll be like a 40-minute game.
Because it takes you... And that's the way it works there in the game. Every time you die, it takes you longer to respawn, which gets really annoying after a while. And you kind of do have to level up your characters there to get through the games faster so that you're better able to assist your team.
Right.
But that's saying you actually care to continue playing Heroes of the Storm. I know a lot of people are playing it just to get to their Overwatch stuff.
Yes.
Much like myself.
Which, I mean, that's exactly... Blizzard knows that. It knows you want it because of Overwatch, but it's also hoping that in the process it's going to suck you into Heroes of the Storm.
Well, it's smarter for them because with Oni Genji, yeah, you had a month to do it, but you only had to do 5 games, so really that gives you a month to take care of what you can take care of in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Here, by spacing it out over 4 weeks, then
it's making you play more.
It's making you play more, which is smart. So no, I can't fault them at all for that. That's smart business.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will, for safety's sake, ask you to play some Heroes of the Storm with me this weekend, just so I can assure that I don't miss anything.
Totally okay.
We both already have Oni Genji.
Yeah.
But now I want Officer Diva.
So the last thing I wanted to bring up before we wrapped up the Overwatch talk is that there's going to be a month of free-to-play. However, the huge catch is that it's only in China.
Like, really?
Yeah, really. So it runs from May 1st. I'm so sorry. So it runs from May 1st until May 31st.
So for the month of May.
The entire month of May. Also only available on PC in China. But that having been said, there have been some other free-to-play stuff for Americans in the past and in other regions, and there's a pretty large hope that a very similar promotional event will also come to the States. So, we'll see.
And there's still word that, hopefully for the year, 1 year out, anniversary for Overwatch, that we will potentially get another character. Doomfist!
Doomfist is coming.
He's coming.
We know he's coming.
So we knew about Sombra, we knew about we just give us Doomfist already.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
I'm just waiting for Terry Crews to bust through a wall. That's all I want. So yes, that's all of our information there on Overwatch. Let's go ahead and move on to our second story, having to do with the legality of fan subs in the Netherlands.
Yeah, all I've really got is of the Netherlands flag.
That's fine.
That's all I've really got as backdrop for this. So, again, you might wonder, well, most of my viewers here, you're probably not in the Netherlands, I am going to assume. We are not in the Netherlands. We are American. We are Americans, and we are in America. So how does this,
of your brain can make it hard
Why
to
do I
lose
keep
weight?
getting ads? I'm sorry, I keep trying to mute this for you guys, and it keeps yelling at me.
Okay, point being.
I'm sorry. Point being, this could really set a precedent.
Yes,
is what is so important.
That's the big thing
here.
about it.
And really, it's kind of interesting because it's not really saying anything that isn't new, at least as far as copyright is concerned in the United States. It's just really saying, hey, we've got a stance on this, and we might actually move forward with it.
Right.
The Netherlands-based anti-piracy group Brain, that's spelled B-R-E-I-N. I have to assume that that's short for something.
That's an acronym.
And that we don't know what it is. They went to the Dutch court, and I'm quoting directly from comicbook.com, to clarify whether creators of movies and television have the exclusive rights to create and distribute... Really, ads? Really? The exclusive rights to create and distribute the subtitles to the film, to any film, I guess. And the court ruled in their favor, saying that subtitles can only be created and distributed with permission from the rights holders, and doing so without permission is copyright infringement, and thus punishable with either jail time or a fine depending on where you live. Really, again, it's not exactly new. This is not...
Right.
In the United States, that's absolutely true. Copyright holders... or holders of a given IP, they're technically they always have been the only ones who are legally allowed to create and distribute translations of their own works.
Right.
The difference now is that somebody in the Netherlands got pissed enough about it to actually take it to court and say, hey, is this in fact illegal? And the courts were like, yep, it is, and we might actually prosecute over it. But apparently, according to this article, I don't think that the Netherlands necessarily thinks that the subtitles themselves are especially harmful. They are technically illegal, but they're not especially harmful. What their concern is that the subtitles are attached to illegally downloaded TV and film.
So then this is an argument about piracy, not subtitles.
They're making it a very roundabout thing about piracy. So they go on to say, with the decision in hand, it will be easier for Brain to maintain its work against illegal subtitlers and against sites and services that collect illegal subtitles and add movies and TV shows from an illegal source. That's where they're less mad about the subs themselves, about somebody actually translating, and more mad about the distribution, the illegal distribution.
Well, then if you're going after
distribution,
don't say you're going after subtitles, because that's not what you're doing. It's just like you're saying, it's a roundabout way of policing distribution and piracy. Mm-hmm. But as far as that goes, like, yeah, at a certain point, everybody's done it. You know, especially our audience here, we all know who we are. Mm-hmm. you do sometimes have to go after series that aren't readily available in your native language.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, places like Netflix are aware of specifically tracking when people are doing that to see if they can acquire it and make that available for them to watch, which is the smart thing to do, I think. The business-minded thing to do.
I think it's less about... especially in the case of the Netherlands. In the United States, we're very fortunate, I think, because we have access to a lot of stuff. Not everything we would want, but a lot of stuff. So much anime every single season gets licensed by somebody.
Now,
Funimation and yeah, this isn't the dark ages of anime anymore.
No,
where
it's
10
not.
years ago or longer, we were maybe, at best, getting half of what was out there.
No, now we're getting dang near everything. You remember the last time we just tried looking through Crunchyroll's catalog?
Oh, it's overwhelming. It's totally overwhelming. But in the case of places such as the Netherlands, you're not going to see a whole lot of legal Dutch subtitles. That doesn't happen. So as we're fortunate here, it's the rest of the world that is kind of suffering for this, really.
And when you put it that way, that's not very fair. I mean, admittedly, if a Dutch distributor could find a way to put subtitles on their own stuff to allow them to be able to watch and participate, you know, pay towards the things that they're trying to watch, then maybe that wouldn't be so big of a problem.
Right.
You don't have to worry about piracy when you're not needing to pirate, because piracy, I think in my mind, comes more from a need rather than a straight up desire. Like, you know what? I woke up this morning and had breakfast. I'm gonna do something illegal today. What's good? I'm gonna download all of Breaking Bad. I'm gonna do that right now.
Yeah.
And that's not really something I think a lot of people try to do. It's just, well, I'd like to watch this at my own leisure, but I can't. Well, I don't have any other option. Here goes, you know, torrents. And the thing about it is, a lot of piracy problems, I think, go away when you allow for those options to be there. To be able to watch the stuff that people clearly want to watch and give them a reasonable way of doing so.
Now, back in the day, I was really very staunchly against a lot of fan subbing, especially when we knew, well, it's eventually gonna get over here, let's just buy it anyway. Now I feel like business models have changed a whole lot.
In 10 years,
in 10 years, and for the industry to not catch up seems very silly to me. At this point, there really should be no excuse as to why official outlets should not be available to a consumer. There's really no excuse at all at this point. Maybe there was a while back, and I would have been more willing to, okay, I'll sit and wait. I believe in this, and I really want to support this. I really believe in this. And now, if you can't keep up, sorry companies, you're the fool, and you're missing out on money.
Right, because we think of how things were. You think about the anime bubble bursting in the mid-2000s, because, yeah, we did used to have those kinds of mindsets where, well, we know there's only so much, and, you know, we have all these people saying you have to support, otherwise the industry's going to suffer.
Yeah.
And so you would do it. You would pay absurd amounts of money at Suncoast for a DVD of a series you weren't sure you liked.
Yeah.
And then you would sit there and watch it with your friends and realize, wow, this show sucks. Why did they license it? And then that ended up hurting more because there's so much...
ADV's fault.
I was specifically citing ADV. That's actually what I was thinking of. Nowadays, when you have this option of streaming, of picking and choosing, you know what, I can just watch a little of something. If I like it, yeah, I'll keep watching it. Otherwise, no. But in a lot of cases, if somebody really likes something, yeah, they'll sign up for the subscription service. Same way I feel about Young Justice. If that's a series that I feel strongly about, I will pay that money.
Yeah,
if somebody really wants to watch a series, they should be given the option of contributing. Why would you turn down money?
Exactly.
Toei.
I'm sorry.
We're always going to come back to that. We really need to have a hashtag
in regards to specifically about their live action tokusatsu stuff.
Yes.
In regards to their anime, they've mostly caught up with the times.
Well, yeah, Dragon Ball Super is being simulcast right now.
It's their live action department that needs a whole lot of help.
Yes.
A whole lot of help.
Lot of that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, the government there, the Dutch government can see past that. Hopefully there won't be too much prosecution of fan subs specifically, like call something for what it is. If you're going after pirates, say it's an anti-piracy thing.
Right.
Don't get after somebody who's literate.
That's very true. Technically speaking, though, when they say they're going after the subtitles themselves, I mean, they're not wrong. It's just kind of lawful evil.
Yeah, like, it's pretty lawful. I'm liking this one that I'm seeing here in the chat. Hashtag get with it toy.
And make sure to capitalize every word.
Yeah.
The first letter of every word.
I think we might start using that.
Yeah,
I like that. Get with it toy. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully they'll find a better way of handling this without putting too many people, putting the screws to them, like, how dare you use our language to put out media? Fines. No, come on, man.
For real. Just actually provide the service and we don't have a problem here.
Yeah.
Just, like, hire 2 extra dudes.
Yeah.
To
like,
subtitle
it's not
it,
that hard.
And then people will stop
really
stealing.
Not that hard.
I promise.
I promise. So yeah, that's pretty much all we got on that. Let's go ahead and move on to our last story.
We can do that, yeah. We've got a trailer that wants to play. I think it wants to play.
Yeah,
it was thinking about it. Yeah.
So yes, we got some information this week about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Some information coming out about the story mode for the game. All the different characters that we're having there, and these new mechanics that they're bringing into the game, specifically tied to the abilities of the Infinity Stones.
So I'm super excited that Mega Man X is in this.
Right.
I just really want that to be put out there, that we're talking X and not reg. I love the original Mega Man in every single Marvel vs. Capcom he's ever been in, but Mega Man X holds a pretty strong place in a lot of people's hearts, and X being there is so good. I'm glad Strider Hiryu's back.
I love Strider.
We've got Rocket Raccoon making an appearance. Yeah. So just suddenly out of nowhere, this was dropped on our heads. Hey, new Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh, well, that's cool. I kind of wish they did the shading thing that they did in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
The comic-styled shadowing.
I actually really liked that.
I really liked that stylization, so I miss that, but I think this is really interesting because they're going back to the old classic versus kind of gameplay that Capcom used to do, where we're not getting teams of 3, we're going back to a tag team style system of only 2 characters per team.
I'm not sure how I feel about going back to that. I mean,
think?
At a certain point, yeah, when that was all we had, I would use it, and that's like, what, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at best? Or did we already have 3 players?
No, there were 3 players.
Okay, then it was just original Marvel vs. Capcom then. But point being, yeah, I've gotten used to my top 3.
Yeah.
Who did I would usually have Hayato, Strider, and Wolverine. All blade people. Tearing up the other teams, and usually like if I go up against like a Hulk, Venom, Magneto team, they would squash me. But point being, you have your top 3, and now having to reduce it to 2. Granted, you got more people to pick from, but I think in some ways that makes it harder.
Maybe so. Yeah, it means you'll definitely have to cycle through a whole bunch in order to play as all of your characters for the first time.
Now, admittedly, yeah, we're getting a lot of characters from Capcom, a lot of characters from Marvel, and apparently Duke Nukem as well, but they're calling him Hawkeye. He totally looks like
Every
Duke
time we
Nukem.
see him in a new piece of media, he looks more and more like Duke Nukem by the day. Just purple-wearing Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Here and, what is anime name that we were watching? Marvel Disc Wars.
Disc Wars, yeah.
This and Disc Wars, he totally looks like Duke Nukem.
He does. He very much does. I feel like this particular Marvel vs. Capcom is really strong on the Marvel side of things.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't it be? Marvel is a super heavy hitter now. Times have changed. Like back in the early days of Marvel vs. Capcom, you had your Marvel fans, but like Marvel is so in your face now that it really feels like more people know the Marvel characters than people in the general American populace are gonna know the Capcom characters. You're gonna have friggin' Marvel Cinematic Universe fans coming in, like, all right, here's a fighting game with a bunch of Marvel characters in it. What's a Mega Man? What's a Chris Redfield?
They know what a Chris Redfield is.
Well, okay, if they're a movie-going audience, they know a Chris Redfield.
They know a Chris Redfield. I'm trying to remember now, looking at the trailer here, Did you see any Darkstalkers character this time
Not
around?
as of yet. We're waiting.
That's got me a little worried.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're a staple at this point. You know, Morgan, Felicia, you know, you're...
Well, we haven't seen Felicia in a while.
I would like them to bring her...
Felicia.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I would never play as her, but I appreciated getting beat up by her.
Had a tweet earlier, if Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite fails to have Felicia, we riot.
Like, we're always adding new characters after the fact. Why not Felicia?
Yeah.
Why not Felicia? The thing about it is we've got this new cinematic story that we're telling here with Ultron teaming up with Sigma to make Ultron Sigma. Wow, that was real hard to come up with.
So I'm really interested because they're going to have right away a single player campaign that's at least 2 hours long, and then they're really encouraging new players to get in and start to learn how to get good.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that fighting games, there's a learning curve.
Absolutely.
You know? And the good people are already good. And for the most part, there aren't a whole lot of tweaks made in between each entry in the series. There are some, and you have to get used to some of them, but for the most part, we know how a Capcom fighting game works. It's a bunch of half circles, quarter circles, full circles, and strong, medium, and light attacks.
Right.
And then you do them in different combinations, and people have those things memorized, and so to come in brand new, you can get very easily overwhelmed, but they want you to do the storyline first, figure out how to get good, then take your gameplay online and fight against other people and start to rank up and such, which I think is exciting.
Now, the thing about it, I was thinking about, you know, thinking back in the day of what it took to get good at Marvel vs. Capcom 2, for example, is, you know, if you're there playing it with a cabinet, they had that little list of everybody's, like, 6 moves there in front of you. You could be like, okay, got that. Okay, that's how I use Stars and Stripes.
The good thing about single player in most console versions of fighting games is you can hit the start button, pause, pull up your menu.
I know that. I'm aware of that. What I'm saying is what would be nice is it as a little added bonus if they could have just a little strip of paper that folds out with all of those on there that you can just put on the bottom of your flat screen.
You know what used to have those? Instruction booklets in games. Did you know that video games used to come with instruction booklets?
Wow!
Back in the day, you'd have instruction booklets that had all that crap listed out. Games don't come with instruction booklets
I'm just saying
anymore.
that would be a nice little bonus.
It would be nice. It would be very nice.
Pre-order bonus. Have all your supers there and, you know, fold out piece of paper.
So what I'm kind of excited about is that clearly it's called Infinite because of the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, obviously, because we're about to move into that territory in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Exactly.
So it's going to be very prominent in people's minds. So there are various Infinity Gems that are going to come into play.
Yes.
I was just looking at them here, and I was really interested in how they get used. You might have seen in the background of the trailer that's playing right now, Ultron eventually, later on in the trailer, uses one of the Infinity Gems to, I think it's coming up right here, he boxes a character in, so all he can do is jump or duck. He can't move left or right, and he can finish off an ultimate attack while your character is boxed in. So the good news is you can still defend, and you can still jump and duck. So if the character is firing directly at you, there is a higher likelihood that it's going to hit, but if it's only in one range, like right in the middle...
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right in the middle, you could possibly jump over the attack, or duck under the attack, or block against the attack.
Right.
But it's really limiting. It's going to get you good and trapped. So yeah.
And just for clarification's sake, we're sad about it too. There are no actual Power Stone characters.
Oh, yeah, but Power Stone is not... Power Stone is Sega.
Yeah, not
Power
Capcom.
Stone is not Capcom. But they are talking about Power Infinity Stones. You guess the L button is reserved for the Infinity Stones. The R button is for tagging in and out. I'm trying to find the exact paragraph I was looking at this at, where they were talking about just there's only 3 Infinity Stones that get used. One for time. The
Time Stone, the Power Stone, not that Power Stone, and what was is it Space?
I think it's Space, yeah. Space was the third one. So, God, I am so sorry. This is a very long, detailed article, which is really great that there are some people out there who got an industry build of the game and have already gotten to play some of it. So, and this isn't coming out until September. So that's fantastic that there's already an early build out there.
What I appreciate is that Strider's there at launch, not like with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 where we had to wait to get him in the game eventually. We got him here at launch because, again, he's always been one of my favorite players. So with each of those power Infinity Stones, let's see what we've got here. So the Power Stone gives players a reusable knockback. The Time Stone lets them teleport a short distance. And the Space Stone allows players to pull their opponents slightly closer, making it easier for like a grappling type of character to tear them apart. Looking at Wolverine there.
Yeah.
So between those, I appreciate that they didn't use all of them, because some of them would be a little weird.
Yeah, yeah. But even so, they still have their own separate infinity meter, which means they can do even more than that. So...
And the next attack will be even more better.
Even more better. So the Power Stone, once you trigger the Infinity Storm technique, the Power Stone grants more damage and combo opportunities. The Time Stone greatly speeds up the user's movement. And the Space one is the one we were talking about that boxes you in, puts you in that cage, severely limits your movement into a small box. So there's just tons of supers and specials just all over the place. So despite the fact that you're being limited to only 2 characters in a team, it seems like there's a lot of strategy to be used within this game.
Well, I'm probably going to go back to some of my old, probably just Strider and Spider-Man.
You're still going to need to learn some new stuff. You're gonna need to learn.
But I don't want to!
Well, you're gonna have to, or else you're gonna die.
Well, that's gonna happen anyway. I'm only so good at that game.
Yeah, yeah. Admittedly, I don't think either one of us is especially great at fighting games. However, I think this is totally cool. I think that...
I will say that I'm better at Marvel vs. Capcom than I am at, say, Smash. I at least feel like I'm doing something here, whereas
Smash is more of a party game, if you ask me. I don't care how many people will try to sit there and tell you, no, Smash is totally a fighting game and we need to treat it very seriously. No, it isn't.
You're playing as Donkey Kong. Shut up. But yeah, with this, I imagine we'll see more characters on the roster. It is very cool that we're getting Captain Marvel there. Again, you know, that's the influence of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Again, yeah, because we've got Infinity War coming up. As soon as we're done with this year's movies with Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man Homecoming, they're going to be pushing that.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to find out more about it. And I imagine there'll be some tie-ins with that eventually down the road. Like, lo and behold, maybe we'll get Thanos.
That would be interesting. It'd be very interesting. We can probably wrap it up right about here.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
Good.
Okay.
Alright,
yeah.
fine.
Alright, get out of there.
Okay, bye. So I guess that's it for our main stories for the night. If you want, though, you can definitely stick around with us for the next half an hour, because we're going to be doing Q&A time, as always, so we could go back over any of these stories or anything else you want to talk about.
Yes.
But, if you're not here with us live right now, if you're watching this later on YouTube, later on down the line, later in the week, well, thank you for watching, but I do definitely hope you can make it out to our shows regularly at 9 p.m. Central over here on youtube.com/MarsGirl or twitch.tv/MarsGirl.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, during the week, you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
That having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys again next week.
Thanks, everybody. We've got no end bumper. So we're just